Takatoshi Minamiyama is a college student studying art in Kyoto, Japan. One morning on February 15, 2016, while riding the train to campus, he suddenly falls in love at first sight with a beautiful girl around his age, someone he has never seen before. Even Takatoshi is confused by how random that feeling is, and he assumes it will probably disappear once she gets off at a different station. But as the train keeps stopping at each station, Takatoshi becomes more and more restless.
だってそうだろ。これっきり二度と会えないかもしれない人。
He is terrified that the girl will get off and vanish from his life before he ever gets the chance to speak to her. In the end, he finally gathers his courage and decides to go talk to her. Then, just as he is about to make his move, the girl really does step off the train. Luckily, Takatoshi manages to chase after her at Takaragaiki Station. Nervous and stumbling over his words, he tells her that he fell in love with her at first sight. The film then makes it clear that this is the very first day they meet. After that, Takatoshi asks for her number, but the girl says she does not have a phone. So the two of them end up sitting together at the station and introducing themselves. Her name is Emi Fukuju, and by coincidence, she is also 20 years old. As they talk, Takatoshi tells her about his part-time job as a cartoonist who draws caricatures for a newspaper, while Emi explains that she is attending a vocational school to study hairdressing. Then Emi asks him why he loves her, and why it has to be her. Takatoshi pauses for a moment, unable to explain it properly. All he knows is that, for some reason, he has this strange feeling that Emi is the right person for him to love. Since they are still basically strangers, Takatoshi quickly apologizes, worried that he might have come across as a total weirdo. But Emi only smiles because somehow she can tell that he is being sincere and that he is not a bad person. Not long after that, the train she has been waiting for arrives, since she is only transferring at that station. Takatoshi asks if they will ever meet again, but suddenly Emi starts to cry. She says she has just remembered something sad, then promises that they will meet again the next day. After that, Emi boards the train and leaves, bringing Takatoshi and Emi's first meeting to an end. And that was just the start. This is My Tomorrow, Your Yesterday. Once he arrives on campus, Takatoshi tells his best friend, Soichi Wayama, all about what just happened. Soichi is the kind of friend who is always giving love advice. Takatoshi worries that he may never see Emi again because he does not have any way to contact her. But Soichi reassures him and says that if Emi is really interested, she will find a way to come see him at his campus. The next day, Takatoshi gets on the train at the exact same time, hoping to see Emi again. But she is nowhere to be found. He feels disappointed and slowly starts to accept that maybe he will never meet her again. With that feeling, he heads to a nearby zoo to work on his assignment, drawing a giraffe. Not long after, something unexpected happens. Emi suddenly appears and greets him, casually mentioning that he had said he wanted to finish his drawing at the zoo. Hearing that, Takatoshi is completely confused. As far as he remembers, he only asked to meet her again, without ever mentioning the location. Then Emi adds something even stranger. She says she has seen his drawing displayed in his classroom, even though she has never been to his campus, and the drawing has not even been submitted yet. That day becomes their second meeting. After that, Emi takes him to his favorite place, a small lodge by Lake Takaragaike. Takatoshi explains that the place means a lot to him because when he was 5 years old, he once fell into the lake and nearly drowned, only to be saved by an unknown woman. Emi then shares that when she was also 5, she went through an incident that almost cost her life. Before they part ways, Emi gives him her home phone number. That night, back at his apartment, Takatoshi is pushed by Soichi to call Emi and ask her out, hoping to move things forward quickly. Since Takatoshi has no idea what to say, Soichi even writes out exactly what he should say. Following his friend's advice, Takatoshi invites Emi to watch a movie and sets a meeting time at noon on Sancho Bridge. Thankfully, Emi agrees right away, and they plan to meet again the next day. After the call, Takatoshi is overwhelmed with excitement and cannot stop thanking Soichi. The next day, his giraffe drawing is finally displayed on the classroom board, just like Emi had mentioned earlier, even though it was not finished at the time. Before meeting Emi, Takatoshi arrives early at Sanjo Bridge. He walks around the area, checking out shops and looking for good food spots, following Soichi's advice so he will not seem clueless when they spend time together. Soon after, he meets Emi again at the bridge, marking their third day together. They spend the day snacking, watching a movie, and hanging out at a small local shop.
いいね。あ、
At one point, they even come across a cute Pomeranian, adding another small but memorable moment to their growing connection. Later that night, Takatoshi and Emi spend time together under a cluster of glowing neon lights. In that quiet moment, Emi shares how amazed she was when Takatoshi confessed his feelings so directly, especially since no one had ever approached her like that before. It also turns out that she had been noticing him from afar for quite some time. Encouraged by that, Takatoshi finally gathers the courage to express his feelings properly, and from that point on, they officially become a couple. The next day, Emi helps Takatoshi move into a new apartment not far from his old one. During the move, Soichi also gets to know some of their friends. While unpacking, Emi comes across a mysterious locked box. Takatoshi explains that it was given to him by the woman who saved his life when he nearly drowned as a child, 5 years after the incident when he was 10 years old. Even so, he has never opened it, since he was only told to keep it safe. That night, after everything is settled, Takatoshi walks Emi to the station. Once again, she starts to cry on the way there. From that point on, they begin seeing each other every day. Emi often cooks at Takatoshi's apartment, even using chocolate as a seasoning for meat, just like his family does. Strangely, she claims that Takatoshi once told her about that recipe, even though he clearly never did. Takatoshi jokingly says that Emi must have some kind of sixth sense, but she brushes it off as mere coincidence. As time passes, they reach their 15th day together. Emi, who studies hairdressing, decides to cut Takatoshi's hair at his apartment. That night, they watch a movie together and grow even closer, sharing an intimate moment. Yet again, Emi ends up in tears. After walking her home, Takatoshi discovers that Emi has accidentally left her diary behind. Out of curiosity, he opens it, only to find something very strange. The entries are written in reverse order, with the dates moving backward. Emi has been recording their time together starting from March 16th and going back. For example, what she describes as their third meeting on March 14th is actually their 28th meeting from Takatoshi's perspective, even though it is still only March 1st for him. From his point of view, they have only been together for 15 days. Not long after, Emi calls him from a public phone and says she will finally explain everything she has been hiding. She asks him to meet her the next morning at 6 in his classroom. She also tells him to bring the mysterious box he received as a child. Takatoshi is left confused by everything she says. Then, as the clock hits midnight and the day changes, Emi suddenly disappears from the phone. The next morning, Takatoshi meets Emi, and she finally reveals the truth. She explains that she comes from a parallel world where time flows in the opposite direction, moving backward. In simple terms, Takatoshi's tomorrow is actually Emi's yesterday. That is why she suddenly disappeared during their phone call the night before. While Takatoshi continued moving forward in time, Emi had already shifted into the previous day. This also explains how she seemed to know things about his life that had not happened yet, from his giraffe drawing to the chocolate recipe his family uses, even though he never told her any of it. Emi also has the key to the mysterious box. When Takatoshi opens it, he finds a photo of himself and his parents with the person who gave him the box when he was a child. That person turns out to be Emi. She goes on to explain that they can only meet once every 5 years and only for 30 days. Their two worlds only overlap during that short period of time. Hearing all of this, Takatoshi is left speechless, realizing that it means they can never truly stay together. Emi then reveals something even more surprising. She already knows everything about Takatoshi and the events they will go through, because when she was 15, she received a diary from a 25-year-old version of him. That diary contains the record of their entire relationship. From Emi's perspective, she lives a normal life in her own world, growing from a baby into adulthood like anyone else. But every 5 years, when their worlds briefly intersect, she witnesses how time flows differently between them. To her, Takatoshi appears to grow younger, while to him, she moves further into the past. At one point, they come across the same Pomeranian dog they saw before. For Takatoshi, it is a familiar sight from his past, but for Emi, it is something she is seeing for the very first time, since it has not happened yet in her timeline. After that, they continue spending their days together, following what is written in the diary. But for Takatoshi, everything starts to feel unreal, like he is just acting out a story that has already been written, without being able to truly enjoy the moments with the person he loves. At the same time, the Emmy standing in front of him no longer remembers the happy moments they shared before, which makes it even more painful. Eventually, Takatoshi chooses to walk away because even his current feelings seem to already be recorded in the diary and known by her. Later that night, while doing laundry, Soichi notices how down Takatoshi looks and encourages him to make things right with Emmy, no matter what happened. He reminds him that he still has the chance to apologize and try to understand her situation. That is when Takatoshi starts to remember something important. In the early days of their relationship, Emmy would always cry whenever they spent time together. Back then, he did not understand why, but now he realizes that those were actually Emmy's final days with him, while for him, they were just the beginning. Filled with guilt, Takatoshi realizes how much pain Emmy has been carrying while still smiling and staying by his side. He rushes back to his apartment and calls her at 1 in the morning, at a point where she has not yet experienced their argument. He apologizes and tells her that in her future, the two of them will end up fighting. Even so, he admits that no matter how painful their relationship may be, he still chooses to go through it because he truly loves her. The next day, from Takatoshi's perspective, it is day 21, while for Emmy, it is only day 8. As soon as she steps off the train, Takatoshi hugs her tightly and tells her what lies ahead in her future. He explains that in the coming days, she will often cry because those will be her final moments with him, until the day comes when he no longer recognizes her at all, just like when they first met. Emmy then shares a story from her childhood. When she was 5 years old, she was caught in a dangerous fire during a festival. She was saved from an explosion by a 35-year-old Takatoshi.
危なかったんだけど、誰かが直前で。
From that moment, she began to admire him. Then, at the age of 15, she received a diary from a 25-year-old version of him. That is when she became certain that there was a destined connection between them. And finally, at the age of 20, they meet and spend those 30 days together. The following day, which is day 22 for Takatoshi, they continue going out together following what is written in the diary. But this time, Takatoshi chooses to truly enjoy it, because what matters most to him now is that Emmy feels happy.
大切に過ごしていった。
At one point, he even brings her to a party with his friends. But on the way home, Takatoshi makes a difficult decision. He suggests that maybe it would be better if they continued their relationship as just friends. He knows that in less than 10 days they will reach his final day with Emmy, which is also her very first day meeting him. Even though he admits that he truly loves her, Emmy simply smiles. From her perspective, their relationship has only just begun, so everything still feels new and a little unfamiliar. As time passes, they reach day 29 for Takatoshi, which is only day 2 for Emmy. He takes her to meet his parents. Before that, they stop to eat takoyaki, and Emmy reacts to the heat in a way that reminds Takatoshi of a memory from 10 years ago when she gave him the mysterious box. It is the exact same moment, repeating itself in a different time. When they arrive at his house, his mother warmly welcomes them, while his father remains distant and reserved, much like Takatoshi himself. Still, Takatoshi is used to his father's personality and does not seem bothered by it. During dinner, his mother talks about the time Takatoshi was saved from drowning as a child. Emmy also learns about the chocolate-based meat recipe his family uses, which makes Takatoshi smile, remembering that Emmy had already cooked that same dish for him before. After dinner, they take a photo together, a photo that Emmy will later keep. On the way home, Takatoshi can no longer hold back his tears. He knows that tomorrow will be his last day with Emmy. He struggles to accept the reality that they will never truly be together, and that a future like building a life side by side will never be possible for them. The next day, on March 16th, becomes the final day for Takatoshi, and at the same time, the very first day for Emmy. She arrives as a model for his painting assignment. Before they begin, Emmy asks him to explain everything that will happen between them, from their first meeting all the way to this final day. As he continues painting, Takatoshi slowly tells her the whole story. He talks about their first encounter at the station, his best friend Soichi, the places they visited together, and all the small moments that meant so much to him. But as he recalls those memories, he suddenly breaks down, overwhelmed by the realization that none of it can ever be experienced again. After that, Takatoshi tells her not to live her days by following his story. But Emi believes she will still be happy, because for the next 30 days she will get to be with him. As midnight approaches, they sit side by side at Takaragaiki Station, the same place where they first met, and now the place where they will part. Before the day changes, Takatoshi holds her hand and reflects on how their lives seem to form a connected circle. No matter how their time flows, there will always be moments where their paths intersect. From the time he was saved as a child, to the 30 days they spent together, to the moment he would one day save her at the festival. Soon after, the train arrives right as the clock strikes midnight. And just like that, Emi disappears from his grasp. The story then shifts into a flashback from Emi's perspective when she is 15. At that time, she is approached by Takatoshi, who gives her a painting he made when he was 20. Deep down, she wishes that one day, when she turns 20, she will finally get to meet him. The film then revisits their journey from Emi's side, showing their time together once again. From meeting in the studio to visiting his parents, to the everyday moments they shared, like cutting his hair and cooking meals using his family's chocolate recipe. As her days move forward, Emi grows more and more emotional, knowing that everything will eventually lead to the moment at Takaragaiki Station, when Takatoshi approaches her for the very first time and confesses his feelings. Finally, the story returns to Takatoshi's perspective, showing him meeting Emi as a young child at the festival. And in the end, it closes with the same scene from the beginning, when Takatoshi sees Emi on the train and wonders if they will ever meet again. So the moral of the story is, sometimes you can love someone with your whole heart, at the right place and the right moment, but still lose them forever because your time was never meant to move together.